If the theme is playing, I can't hear it. But this episode is brought to you directly by loneliness and despair.
Indeed.
Nope, just kidding. We're here to bring you some positivity and some content that you can enjoy.
The world's on fire! The world is on fire!
For whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do with it, you can enjoy it. Hi, welcome to the Portal Gun Podcast, the social distancing edition, featuring myself, Jeff Wilson, along with
Mason,
my friend through the internet, my friend through the portal, internet portal.
We have cameras and microphones, so we use them unnecessarily to to do our thing.
Yeah. So welcome to some content, I guess. This is how we are going to do it today. I guess we can start off by. I wanted to share a story of me actually I honestly tried to upgrade my setup and could not. As you know, people are panic buying ramen noodles, toilet paper.
The only thing people are talking about right now.
Yes, people are panic buying everything, all the essentials. They're also panic buying USB microphones. So I tried to upgrade. I went to Micro Center a couple days ago, and the lines to check out at Micro Center were longer than the line I checked out at Kroger because
priorities.
People need their gaming chairs, man. People need new headphones. People need all the electronic essentials to survive the quarantine pending.
2020 quarantine.
And I thought about it. So I went there, honestly. I was like, you know what? If we're going to do a remote episode like we have in the past, if we can't get to each other as easily, I might as well upgrade my setup now. This is a good time to do it. I've been putting it off for a while because we've been taking advantage of your home studio.
Of course, it's the ad hoc setup. We can but yeah, it's really crazy though because the only difference between when we record here and when we do this is the audio. So I think once everybody quits panic buying everything and worried about staying at home forever, we'll definitely get that sorted out. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy. We did this is our 5th episode.
This is episode 5. Yes, episode number 5. We are halfway to 10, and that's exciting.
True. And we are a quarter of the way to 20.
Yes, there you go, math.
Hey, we can do math. So,
but yeah, so I literally went to Micro Center, and I went back to Micro Center is huge, and I went back to the USB microphone area. I should have taken a picture, but literally, it's just vacant. It's just empty. There are tags for the microphones that I want to take a look at. And I even called an employee. Well, the employees seek you out at Micro Center. They sniff you out. They know if you're having trouble. Those dorks.
You need some keyboards?
They literally.
You need some mice?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Are you doing good over here? No, I'm not. And so I pulled this guy over here. He's a very stiff dude. He's walking like real stiff over to me, and he's like, "Can I help you with something?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can." Looking for a USB microphone. This model, actually, in particular, I see you're sold out on the shelves. Do you have any in the back? Which is a stupid question to ask anyone in retail right now.
Ever, yeah.
But he does. He goes over to the little computer, and he's over there typing it in. He's, it looks like we have -1 in stock. He literally said it. And I'm like, wow, okay. Somehow.
I wonder if he was subtly passive aggressively being the most dick possible by saying -1 because it's insane.
He did kind of have like a dickish tone to him, but I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. It's been a rough couple of days, maybe weeks for these people who work in retail, who work in service, who do anything that's essential right now. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, so I just, subtly nodded. I even went over and looked at the headphones with the mics, kind of like what you have on right now, and that was an even worse decision. So,
was there equally scarce to choose from?
Yeah. So, and then I thought about it, like, what else are anyone in the world who has to be stuck at home? What are they going to do with their time? They're going to try and do their own Rick and Morty podcast to compete with us. So,
that's kind of crazy though you say that because as you said it, I was thinking not only are gamers and your common folk going and buying those things, but right now an abundance of people are having to work from home. So I think I actually a girl we went to high school with hit me up recently, and she has started working from home, and she's like, "Do you have an extra monitor?" Because I think I offered her one a while ago. I had like an old VGA monitor or something, and she's like, "Do you have a mouse too?" And I was like, "Do you need anything else?" But I was happy to help and glad I could. But when I went over there, she was like it was the middle of the day right before I went to work, and she was in the middle of like a conference call and only had the laptop. I set the monitor up for her real quick, and so a lot of people are like not I guess maybe panic buying, but there's only certain places that they can get the things they need, and Micro Center just happens to be the place that, in Columbus at least, if you have any kind of call-in job, which there's tons of tech jobs in Columbus, it doesn't matter whether you work call center or help desk or whatever, you might need a headset. Because, remember how annoying talking with a phone was, like holding on your shoulder, dude? Like, remember the weird phones that have like the freaking elbow on them, like the backside of them that look like freaking Reaper hooks. So it
fits in your shoulder like that. Yeah, and then the idea of a headset, especially if you're like a trucker, was like actually life-saving. You know, so and then you think about it. Yeah, I guess people who are in meetings who have to do a lot of conference calling all day, they want to not sound like they're on a telephone from the 70s, which is what we sound like now, probably, or at least me. But
as much of a shtick as it is in movies, when people talk on the phone or on speaker, there is something very real about the psychology of being able to just conversate without having to focus where you talk at, kind of like public speaking and stuff. It's like if we all could talk as comfortably, but I digress. So episode 5, dude, what do we got for today?
Yeah, so not a lot happening in the Rick and Morty verse. There has been a couple little promos being thrown up on the Twitter, a couple promos thrown up on the website of nothing to tell, no news at all. I don't care what clickbaity article you read. There is not going to be any kind of
miracle news.
There is nothing new. Yeah, there is. I keep seeing the words release date in the headline, and I'm like, you guys.
Every news article.
You got to stop it with that. So, but I guess, that's
I think on the note of that, we do have this, which says March 18th, 2020. It looks like the official Rick and Morty Twitter did post a captioned little video that is Super Sentai Rick. And 15 seconds is playing right now for you guys. Let me full screen it.
Yeah. I dig it. We should do like episode commentary. Just like throw up an episode.
I would love that, dude. That's a great idea.
We'll get flagged. We'll get taken down.
Well, all we have to do is like slow down the rate of play or something, or just throw it off.
Yeah,
throw it off
the audio or something. Yeah, and you get freaking taken down for whatever. Whatever. That'd be fun.
YOLO, bro. We're dying. We're all dying. People need this commentary, bro. First of all, everyone knows you're a genius if you watch Rick and Morty, period. You only have to watch one episode to be a certified genius smarter than Stephen Hawking. Because
you have a high IQ to understand it.
So everybody knows that. Like, don't be a Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want two just like Rick and Morty dweebs to talk about the episode that you've already seen 100 times, let us know.
Right.
We can do that for you. We might, run dry. And I have all the episodes. I have all of the Blu-rays right here, so we can actually start it. Do a live commentary recording.
Yeah.
But we could do it. I just need to upgrade my mic first. So I checked today. Still nothing.
Yeah,
but,
I think
that's what.
I think you should be set. Like we were trying to figure out the microphone before this, and like my condenser mic that runs through my workstation was giving me some buzzing, and I couldn't figure it out, and I just switched the setting in OBS to record through the microphone, and I guess like. Even though you think about being phantom power and condenser microphones and stuff, it's like they have equivalently good technology and USB drivers and stuff. So if you buy a heavy hitting set of headphones, it's like $120, $150 besides Beats. It should actually have.
Are there headphones besides Beats?
Well, never, dude. They're the best in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, in layman's terms, no updates in terms of the season 4. We are on Season 4 release date watch. As of right now, we are keeping our eyes peeled, trying to give constant updates.
Corona watch.
Yeah. Aside from all of that, all the obvious stuff, the most important thing we're on the lookout for is any kind of news about future episodes, which we've gotten none so far. Nope. Cool thing that we mentioned last episode, the Chia Pet Rick is in process right now, and we have an updated photo that's going up right here.
And then
so that's the process.
Yeah, that was me. I broke it out that night. I'd never done a chia pet before. Apparently, I need to look up what kind of seeds they are. But all I had to do was take 2 teaspoons of the chia seeds, which they gave me plenty, so now I can make my own chia. And then I mix it with a 1/4 cup of water, I think. And then you mix it up at first, and then let it sit for like 5 minutes, and then mix it up again. And it says it turned into a jam-like consistency, but it needs to be thicker than that because that bitch has to stick. Because it's actually really hard to get, and like after that picture, that picture was when it was wet after I did it, and now here is our nice little dude with all. But like, dude, to actually get the seeds evenly distributed, so he wouldn't just be like you know, what was that toy people used to play with where you drag the magnets, Harry Berry or something?
Wooly Willy?
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
Harry Berry, nigga. That's
Harry Berry is better though.
Yeah, that's the one I'm coming up with, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was fun. I'm excited to now. I guess what I do is also I guess this is supposed to be broken off here at the top because you do fill the chia with water inside of it, and then apparently the ceramic absorbs the moisture to the outside, which is how it kind of waters itself. But we should be growing here soon with updates on that, and I think you have some new something new on the front of
I actually
Rick and Morty merch promo.
In my midst of panic buying, I wasn't panic buying actually. I was actually just going to the grocery store. But there was a lot of items that were available a couple days ago. People had actually stopped buying everything.
Right, we're recording this on March 20th of 2020, which you know, America and the world are falling apart during coronavirus right now. So, but there are Rick and Morty Pringles. That is the good news.
Yeah, everything looked pretty decent, and I was able to find a can of the Pringles Rick and Morty Pickle Rick Special Edition.
That's what we got.
Still sealed. So I'm assuming, I can only assume these are dill pickle flavored. And honestly, it doesn't tell me anywhere on here. It just says Pickle Rick artificially flavored, which I know we've seen from the donuts. Hopefully that's not actually like a pickle on the donut.
Yeah, also my bad.
I'm going to pop this open and eat one right for you right now, because we're only giving you the best content during your quarantine, and that is the Portal Gun Podcast. So
here it is.
They're popped open right now.
Yeah. Also, I think I may have stepped on your momentous moment of announcing what you were going to reveal. That I got ahead of ourselves, but I do apologize. But now let us engage in this climax moment of enjoying the one and only Pickle Rick Pringles.
And then he turned himself into a pickle, and the room erupted in laughter. So I will have one. I can tell you what it smells like, but I don't want to ruin this moment.
Give us a certified Yelp review as you taste it, please. Oh, the whole thing. You didn't even bite it. You went for the whole bite. You didn't even,
I go all in.
You didn't even smell it. You're just like a. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I will say that right off the bat, if you guys can see here, the color and the texture is literally a normal Pringle. There's nothing different. I know you guys have had the pizza Pringles before, where there is some red, orange shading at the top. This is literally, my light's not doing it justice, but literally it's just a plain looking Pringle. And I gotta say, I expected a plain Pringle taste when I ate it.
Okay.
But what I got was the essence.
A Pringle you've never had before.
Pickle Rick flavored pickle Pringles.
Now
they are real.
Let me ask you:
and
would you have ever bought a pickle flavored Pringle, and I'm coming like Chris Kringle, and I'm single.
There it is.
Would you have bought Pringles if they were pickle flavored and not endorsed by Rick and Morty? Probably not.
No, absolutely not. Nope. I do enjoy pickles. I don't like eating pickles by themselves.
I am not one of those guys either.
But pickles on a burger.
He said that's psychotic to me.
Yeah, great. A lot of people just buy pickles just to eat, just alone. Which, I mean, do your own thing. Live your own life.
Just walking around like...
Man. Yeah. Drink pickle juice. I know there's like the pickle juice shot, like the alcoholic drink.
Oh,
like, man. No, that's a no for me,
right,
dog.
Yeah.
Plain Pringle, it is actually dill pickle flavored.
Quite pickle.
And actually quite delectable. It is quite delicious. out of 5, I would rate this a solid 4.
There you go. I was I haven't tasted them yet, but based off of your review and it tasting like pickles, I would be disappointed because I wanted it to taste like a human named Rick.
Yes, exactly.
So I was a little disappointed. I was hoping there would be a bloody mess of Pringles, well, a funny endorsement on the flip side for Rick and Morty. But yeah, dude, that's really cool.
But I gotta say, it's cool looking. It's a cool looking Pringles. Like literally, it was like a whole Rick and Morty display. And they had a couple tubes and then like a bunch of regular Pringles. I should have taken a picture of it. I just need to think about the stuff when I'm in the moment. But
right.
And I'm like, oh, cool. Like these are actually out. I didn't know these were actually hitting stores anytime soon. You see the commercial, and I thought half of the commercial was honestly a joke. I thought it was just like a spoof of like, oh, haha, here's a funny Super Bowl commercial idea.
The way that the Szechuan sauce started as a one-line bit joke.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, oh, these are actually real.
Right.
They're actually out. So yeah.
Yeah, so that was awesome. If you guys are just catching this episode for the first time, if you want to go back, I think it was last episode 4, we had a pretty in-depth conversation about, or was it episode 3, the merchandising? Yeah. So we talked about the idea of putting Rick and Morty labeling and branding into merchandise, and how much would you be willing to buy it? Would it upset you? So if you guys are interested in checking that out,
yeah, that was episode 4. That was last episode.
Yeah,
right?
Check that.
We talked about.
Yeah.
What branding means and what labeling and putting your name on stuff and is there a limit and things like that. Yeah, honestly say if Pringles literally put out like a pickle flavored Pringle, I would not
want to mess with it. Yeah.
So consider me the ultimate Rick and Morty fanboy. I'm looking at the ingredients.
The same way you wouldn't really buy a Chia Pet for $5 if it wasn't Rick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's really cool though. What else? We could have a. I don't want to give it away. Definitely not going to give this one away because this one could be cool. We could have a little bit of more merchandise and endorsement here soon.
Yes, we could really have in a very close. I have sources that have said that in a nearby episode there could be
from the newsroom.
Yep, exactly.
Tuning live.
There could be a very special tasting of a certain Rick and Morty product. Live for you, content for you, the viewer, to enjoy. And we will give you the most in-depth review because
that's all we do.
It might be something you are not available or not, you can't get here in the United States yet.
But we know how that feels.
I might have some inside information about a certain product that we could be getting our hands on very soon, and it's going to make for an exciting episode.
Highly classified. That is all we can say.
Yeah, but I just know it's going to make for a great episode, possibly a giveaway involved.
Right. I will say it is not a plumbus, so don't expect the plumbus.
Plumbuses are
still cannot get my hands on them.
Still out there in the wild.
I'm gonna just have to go. I thought about just quitting my job and starting like artisan plumbus making and like making a real thing. I'm like, who's to say Rick and Morty is fiction? I will make plumbus as a thing. People will have to have one.
Yeah, exactly.
I will take the dream and run with it. Thank you, Justin Roiland. Exactly, plumbus has made me rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Me in 15 years.
Yeah, so that's going to be really exciting. That's something coming down the pike. I would love. I think that's going to be I don't care if we both have the Rona. We're both going to get together for that one and enjoy whatever this sweet delicatessen
Indeed.
is. I know for a fact from my previous experience that it does taste better than the Pickle Rick Pringles.
Okay.
No,
that is
not a hater. I'm not a hater or anything.
Exactly.
I think this is
just
actually fun.
Your palate preference, exactly.
But this is adorable. I mean, this is going to go on my shelf. I'm going to eat no more of these. I'm just going to seal it back up and throw it next to my Rick and Morty pop series.
There you go.
So,
and that is cool too. Actually, fun fact, life pro tip: if you guys save things like Pringles cans and the containers that CDs come in, like stacks of blank CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, check it out. Like Pringles cans are really good for like ins and out things, like like puzzle pieces or like really random shit that you need like not a bag for, but you want to like knitting needles if you're a grandma, so on and so forth. But no, if I literally forgot my whole train of thought. Well, I was talking about what was before I said that. Fuck me, dude.
Pringles cans, the CD.
Oh yeah, the CD containers. If you take those CD cases and turn them upside down and drill them like into the bottom of a cabinet, you can like have them hold things and like you basically have a twist off gravity remover thing. Pretty cool things. So do different things, people. Would you buy a Rick and Morty pickle if it was a real pickle?
Oh, now that is a good question. Actually, probably not. Due to my distaste for pickles alone, not on a sandwich.
That's interesting to me,
And an actual like wrapped, sealed like Pickle Rick pickle that you could eat. It's just a pickle, but it's got Pickle Rick packaging.
Right.
That might be where I draw the line. If I can't enjoy it personally, I'm gonna have to say no, unfortunately.
I feel it. Yeah, I would. I might try it, but it would be one of those one-offs and like kind of cool. But once again, it goes back to you can get excited about something, but you're only willing to go so far.
Yeah, that's just my palate, as you said before.
That's cool, man.
Something cool. Yeah. Something cool I saw today. I did see there has been like a big resurgence. This has been going on for a couple of years. I'm sure this is like obvious duh for people who have seen this before. A big resurgence in kind of independent, like 8-bit style Nintendo style games, like side scrollers.
I thought you were going to say soundtracks or music. I was going to be excited about either one.
I mean, that's probably a thing too. I think people are still into that stuff.
But yes, the resurgence of indie developing games that are side scrollers.
Yeah. So today I just saw actually there's a giant Silent Bob, like it's called Mall Brawl or something, where they go through a mall and beat up people.
I'm picturing the Beavis and Butthead game on SNES.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. Like it's 8-bit and it's like NES style, and like they did a campaign to get it like.
Can you picture the gas station and 8-bit graphics? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so they got it put like they did like a Kickstarter and it got funded, and you can pre-order the game on like an NES cart. Like they're producing Nintendo carts with this game on it.
That's crazy, dude.
And I'm like, that's a really cool idea. I know that company Limited Run Games, they do a bunch of games like that where they take
it upon themselves to get cartridges, and make it happen.
And they put it on carts and you can pre-order it and it's like ultra limited and stuff like that.
Amazing.
I don't know if there hasn't been, we've got like the Pocket Morty's game that's been out for a while.
Yeah, right.
But if there was like an 8-bit style, like Rick and Morty side scroller, like, would you buy the physical cart of that, and would you play that and enjoy that, and like, what kind of levels would you like to see in something
that'd be
as creative as that?
Yeah, you're really spinning off my brain right here, man. My first counter reaction to that is, yes, I would love to have that, but what I would also like to have in addition to that, or critique against it, is Rick and Morty fighting game. Like
a Mortal Kombat, like a side by side.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
that'd be really funny. You could have like the time dude, Keegan's character, the Time Lord or whatever, Harry Balzac. That'd be a great character. You could have any number of people. That could be really fun. And even, dude, god damn, an open world adventure Rick and Morty game would be the shit. Like that's like.
I'm surprised they haven't gone this route. There must be some kind of like I know there's like that virtual Rickality game that's on PlayStation that might be like a VR exclusive.
Okay.
But like games like that, like I'm surprised there hasn't been just like a plethora of games that are just like, here, this is what we can do. Check this out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why hasn't anyone like put together something like that? So
let's Yo, what is wrong with this?
But I mean, if you had something like this, but more of like a side scroller for like the old school gamers, and then something like an open world would be cool, which is not been done as far as I know.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what's you would, I guess it's probably up to the creators. You know what I mean? Like they have a pretty strict license agreement, or they have a pretty and they're like, nah, we're not trying to like spread ourselves too thin or throw too many things out there for other people to not enjoy.
Right.
So I'm sure there's like a big halt there. You know what I mean? So I mean that's been out for like 2 years now, almost. that virtual reality. But like having like a side scroller, like old school, like someone like whoever develops games, like this is what you got to do. Like that would be cool. And I would play that.
If we do go into quarantine, I'm breaking out the cartridges, bro. Because there's a lot of games I want to go back and get and I beat, because I swear, dude, like if you don't believe in what I'm about to say, it's because you were not alive when they were around. Fucking cartridge games are harder to beat than today's games. Today's games are easy to play, bro. Unless you're talking like Dark Souls, like arguments for like hard games tactically and approach, you know, not speed runs or anything, but just learning a new game right out of the box, not knowing what the hell it is, in a cartridge. I still can't beat Lion King on Super Nintendo, bro. You know, like, there are games I still cannot beat. I beat Power Rangers. I beat a couple different ones on Super Nintendo, but I remember not beating more games than beating games when it came to...
Because you're just like, F this. Like, I can't do it. I literally can't do it. Even with the save states, with, like, the new... emulators, like the new emulator, like the Retron has the save states. Like even with that, it's still difficult.
Yeah, and that
doesn't beat the game for you, you know.
And if you do that, you're basically a mangina. That's what the gamer would say.
Exactly.
But no, I after saying that, I'm guilty of doing that because that was the only way I could beat some of the. I'd never beat the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Super Nintendo game. I got to a certain point, and man, that Retron was so cool. I want to break it out now.
Yeah, they actually were selling one at Micro Center.
Oh, wow.
Micro Center has like a whole, which is crazy to me.
I saw that aisle.
With like retro controllers, retro game like emulators, players, and I'm like, damn, like there really is a market for this stuff like at Micro Center. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really think it was like that, and I guess it is. Like people were building their own arcades and their own like boxes with games in it. So
that's interesting to me because when it comes down to licensing and stuff that we talk about with Rick and Morty or with video games and kind of intellectual properties, up to a certain extent, if something wasn't successful enough, you know, if certain series aren't, you know, what was that game on Super Nintendo that's really Paperboy? You know, Paperboy and Battletoads were successful games at the time and became great later in history as a remembered thought, you know. If they would have been as successful as Star Wars was at its time, as Star Trek, as like things that gained really glaring popularity, they would not have fallen by the wayside in terms of trademark and kind of publishing rights. So that's why I think a lot of those retro aisles and stuff can exist, because all of those game manufacturers and stuff, those game companies that produced a lot of those one-off games were the equivalent of today's indie game developers. It was a one-off thing they were trying to do at the time. It could have been the only game that company ever made, but they really, you know, a lot of games fall under the umbrella of you're not going to get in trouble if you put this on, you know, a circuit board with a memory chip that can play through an HDMI port, and you can figure, you know, it depends what you want to play, but there's definitely that market out there. I think that's really interesting. I would totally play a Rick and Morty 8-bit game, and I bet the soundtrack.
And I'm wondering if like somebody out there has made, you know, like an 8-bit Rick and Morty game, you know, because there's so many
assuredly,
yeah. So I'm wondering if there's like somebody like.
Yeah, if you're listening and you know, that definitely let us know if you have heard of anything like that.
And if you haven't done that, there's your $1 million idea right there. Like, you know?
Yeah. If
only, there's so many things you do. Like if I was smart at all with that stuff,
I'm
good. So many cool things.
I'm really good with computers. I know how they work. I know how to build them. I know all the parts and specs and bells and whistles. I cannot code worth a damn, bro. When I start trying to code, it's like you broke out some fucking long division, calculus, geometry, and put it all together, and I got to do algebra 2. And it's like, I break my own brain trying to figure out how to code, because coding is like a new language that involves letters and numbers, and it's, you know, there's no dictionary for it. You have to fumble as you go, but that'd be really cool, man. So
that's crazy. I would think like some indie guy, like there's so many, and that's the thing, there's so many like hacks and there's so many homebrews of popular games that are already out there. Like people will do like a different Mario where you can't hit any shells or can't get any power-ups or something like that. Like or you can't die one time or something. Like there's so many cool little like emulating homebrews out there. I'm wondering if someone just like took like the Mario skin and just put it over it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Would be interesting in itself too.
So checking out on the subject of that, it made me think of something very relative. So Destiny, as you know, I'm a huge fan. So somebody did this. They made a little thing called Project Tiger, and that's an article from Polygon. If you guys want to check that out. And then this is kind of the trailer for it. See, can't you imagine like a Rick and Morty just like this?
Yeah, something like this even. Yeah, it's like it doesn't look like it's terribly complicated to make, and that could be just me speaking ignorantly. But like, you know, like something like a little like this, and then you just.
Yeah, this was I don't.
Shooty.
Yeah, know? I don't know how many people were involved in the creation of this, but oh man, it just looks so good. Like that triangle and that health bar is exactly how the health bar looks in Destiny how it is now. So like, there's a lot of things you can do that are just really pleasing. Total random side note to go along with all that. I watched a really awesome YouTube video about the guy who made Prince of Persia. At the time, he developed it for the Apple II, and the Apple II was limited to a memory problem at the time, and they basically ran out of memory before they were done with creating ideas for the game. So he had to like kind of backwards engineer his thought and stuff, but. It's really interesting to see and get in the minds of that behind the scenes create. 8-bit games, they're so easy, right? They're so simple. It's like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you take a peek at what this code says and see if you can even make sense of it. But you sure can play it. You can sit down and fail at the level. You can sit down and not beat the game. You can sit down and beat the game, but you probably can't write that game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it looks easy, and it looks like it's not complicated, but it's actually the opposite.
Right. But yeah, so
that's gonna be cool.
I've got a question for you. Let's see, we're running on 32 minutes right now, so we could make this last question the last segment if you want to. I was thinking to myself, and I thought it would be a good question for both of us to answer, and also if any audience members want to tune in, let us know their answer as well. So Jeff, what or is there something in Rick and Morty that has hit you on an emotionally direct level, whether it be like socially or in a familial setting, or whether you feel like you've been a Jerry before, or any kind of plot lines or relationships, platonic, romantic, whatever, anything that upon even on the first watch you were like, oh my gosh, this that it hits. So, movies and stuff hit like that.
Yeah. Wow, that's a pretty loaded question. That could be a whole nother episode.
And maybe we will talk about because there is definitely more than one. The reason I thought of that question is because I've had multiple moments like that watching, and I figured you did too. So maybe we'll think of one that comes to mind immediately today and talk more about it later.
Yeah. And I guess the obvious one that just the first thing that comes to my mind is fairly obvious. In terms of, I think this is probably a lot of people's answers when they get asked this question, is the episode where they both have to go to the alternate reality because they died and they have to bury
the toxic versions of themselves
in the backyard.
Oh no! Yeah,
no, the old one.
Yeah. Okay.
So when they get blown up and they have to go bury themselves
Isn't
in
that
the backyard.
Kind of the first time that timeline gets established, that it could be different, that there could be two different versions?
Yeah, so that's another thing too, is that it's like, oh well, this could be a whole nother like realm of storytelling if you really wanted. But so that one was, I guess, not so crazy in terms of like what was happening. It was just because it seemed so like it was deep because Morty gave that big speech at the end. And what was that? Rick? I want to see what I don't even know. That Rick Potion number 9 might have been the episode or something like that.
Yeah.
That's when which is kind of funny because talk about like spread of a virus and stuff like that. So talks about how, and they actually come to like a pretty like logical like conclusion at the end when everything kind of gets okay with the Cronenbergs. The Cronenbergs are taking over, and like Jerry and Beth actually reconcile for a while,
right?
And they actually come to terms with what the fate of the episode is. It's like they're living in this world now.
Yeah.
And they're like actually like, okay, like we're cool with that. And then we go to another reality. So
yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool though. Yeah, but like when plots like that get written, and they've never been brought across to you like that, you like the same way with Beth potentially being a clone of herself and her not knowing. You know, it's like until you get this idea popped in your mind that things could be any different, you don't ever think twice of it. But once you do, you're like, oh my gosh! Well, you know, other realities and like thinking of all the parallel dimensions, and that's what I love that the sci-fi element of Rick and Morty plays with.
Yeah, and that's
cool,
like, yeah, and that's like episode. That's
early.
Still first season stuff. Yeah.
That's first half.
So
season
like
one,
them to lay on that big like, yeah, for them to like lay on that big plot point, like okay, like you know, because Morty delivers that big. It happens in a different episode, so like they do it like it's already kind of like a weird cryptic thought for them to like bury their own bodies because they explode and stuff like that.
Right.
But it continues on the other episode. I don't remember which episode it was. Oh, it's like 2 episodes later, 60 Minutes. That's what it is.
Okay.
Which is the first like. Well, he gets like the cable from all the other dimensions, and like they get to see that themselves in alternate dimensions through TV.
Okay, yeah.
And that's when like
they get obsessed with other versions of their realities instead of the one that they're living in. That's what they want to watch all the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was the premise of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when Summer and Morty like have that big talk, and that's when Morty's like, you know, nobody exists on purpose and nobody belongs anywhere. Come in and watch TV. Yeah,
there are golden moments like that. Yeah, when Morty drops some logic, you know it's about to hit home, like some home sometimes, and hit home like somebody who's been through the most. Yeah, and that's one thing I love is like when they make the show make sense, they make it hit, bro, and it's undeniable. That's why you can't not like the show if you pay attention and have an IQ above a rock.
Exactly. But that was cool. That was hard hitting. And that's also like a quote that I think is brought up a lot. Like when I see memes and stuff, people still talk about that quote about how Summer is so concerned with something else or another life or something like that, and Morty's just like,
high school,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I'm literally buried in the backyard. So that was deep, and I think, and any of the music really in season 1 were so what was that group that we discovered?
Chaos.
Yeah. So
okay,
like,
so that's a sister duo from New York who I think Royland must either really like them or know them or something. But they did Terry Folds. They've done a lot of the song at the end of the Unity episode, which is my answer to this question. The way that they will write some airy synthy pads into a background, you know, because everybody knows this, you know, John Williams and all the great score directors of cinema, and part of the reason I play Destiny once again is because the level of interaction and specialness, I mean that's not a word, that the game adds when the music matches the feeling of what you're doing, adds so many levels. It's like, dude, and I don't know, maybe that's why the Big Bang Show doesn't have a score, you know. Certain shows don't have scores because music doesn't add to the impact of the kind of subject matter. But when it does, when a silly ass, wonky ass sci-fi show that is out of its mind makes a lot of sense and hits with some nice music, you're like, oh, you feel your heart drop, you feel your stomach drop. You felt like this person writing this show, and that's why I love, you know, Justin and Dan for writing the honesty into the show of nobody exists on purpose. You know, people really, those are real feelings people really do have, and that's why people relate so much.
Yeah, I actually bought the soundtrack. It just got released, not the soundtrack, but it was like a compilation of songs from like the first 3 seasons, basically, on Rick and Morty. Every song that they put in the show is on there. Theme,
Can You Feel It? That one's it's on that soundtrack. So I bought the CD at like Target or something like that. Is it Chaos or Rick and Morty soundtrack?
It's a Rick and Morty soundtrack.
Cool,
yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like a bunch of music from the first 3 seasons.
Do you have it, or is it in your car? Where's it at, bro?
The CD's in my car, but like the actual cases.
How did I know it would be? That's the right answer.
Yeah. So I pop it in, and I'm listening to it, and it has the theme. It has a bunch of other like silly songs. It's got Get Swifty on it, you know.
Nice.
And then that song comes on, and it's just like, damn, like it just, you know, and it takes you right back to the moment where you first saw the episode. You know, it's just like such a weird, like nostalgic flashback to us watching the episode, probably.
Yep.
And when it aired, and it's just like, damn, like this is really heavy. And then it goes like the human music song. It's got the boop, boop, boop. Like
is that the one after
like,
it?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
It's got like one. It's got like that for like.
I love that,
like,
dude.
like
Jerry's
a minute
human
and a half.
music.
I'm just yeah, human music. You know.
He's just bopping to it on his way to work.
Yeah,
loving it.
Yeah. So like I love that there's the dynamics there of like we can get really deep and hit you where it hurts the most sometimes, and, you know, and then it's just hilarious.
But
like,
also, yeah, tickle
so
the funny bone to the extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, soundtrack's really awesome. It's out on vinyl too, so.
I think I saw it on
yeah.
eBay not too long ago. I should have bought it. God damn it, because I'm a cop.
I bought it at Target, and I knew it was coming out, and then I didn't know Target. I was just at Target, and I just saw it, so I just picked it up, and I'm like, and then I didn't even look at the track listing that much. I just like, oh, this is probably got some music from the show. I at least want the theme. That's cool enough, you know. It's got cool art. It's got a cool case with it.
Yeah.
Too. And then I popped it in, and I'm just like, oh damn, it's got all these songs, so I'm happy I got it. So.
That's what's up. Yeah. Anybody who is fans of, you know, obviously music, vinyls, medium, different kinds of mediums of music. I don't really know anyone else besides you, to be honest, who really digs vinyl, digs the interactive experience of listening to music as a vinyl, flipping the record, getting the rest of the album. That's really special to me, and I can say right now, surprising as ever in my life, you can buy vinyls now for the price of what a CD costed. You know, yeah. I remember CDs, when I bought CDs back when they were in the store, and that was the only way I could listen to music before digital. CDs were $13, $15, $18, $22. I just bought Pope Star for I think $13. I have if you have Ghost is coming for I think another 15 maybe. And I'm just like, I cannot believe I'm buying this music on vinyl for that price, and it just amazes me. I'd just as soon spend $15 on a piece of physical media instead of a piece of digital media. That's what blows my mind, man. But I digress.
Yeah, and they actually had vinyls at Micro Center. So,
yeah, they do. They have them at Walmart. They have them almost everywhere now. I think I did. They're over by the TVs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw them. There's a lot of classic rock.
Yeah. So that's Rick and Morty vinyl is out there. It's cool. I should probably pick it up just to have it. You know,
that's cool,
man.
It's a
cool thing to have, and you know, I do like having the record. You can put on side A or side B might be your favorite, or you can flip it over. You know, it's a big like party trick. Like, oh, I gotta flip the record over.
Exactly.
So, you know, like a big thing. But it's cool to have that stuff too. I mean, CDs for me are more convenient, and that's what I digest music through the easiest.
Yeah, and so, for real, part of, in my opinion, part of what I can't, whatever it's called, that word when you, what is it called when you change the ending of a word? Not juxtapose or like whatever the fuck it is. The specialness, I'm just gonna keep saying that, of having to pay attention to a record is that you can't just let the whole album play. If you're not, the next track isn't gonna play if you don't flip the record. So you have to be present enough to enjoy the whole record.
Yeah, and the record is all about the full immersion of the experience. You know, nothing else happening. You're not putting on a record and then going to watch a movie or to do something else or play on your phone. Like you're putting on a record to put on a record, to listen to it, to absorb, to immerse yourself in the experience. And that's what it's about. That's what kind of what CDs are for me, just because that's like I said, that's what I listen to mainly. And found out a lot of new cars are coming with CD players, so I might have to just install one, like a 2020 car, and put like an aftermarket, like 2006 CD player in it or something, you know. But that's what I would do.
I think I just found the Rick and Morty vinyl on eBay for a very, very affordable price. I'm gonna cop it right the fuck now, probably. If I don't press buy while this episode is running, I'll do it right after.
Yeah, check out the track listing because it's funny.
Oh yeah, let me check that out real quick.
So it does look like it's in order, actually.
Yeah.
You know, Human Music is the very last track. So
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, African Dream
So
Pop, the flu hating,
has a bunch of songs.
Small Intestine song. Let Me Out. Oh my gosh, Tiny Rick.
Yeah.
Let me out.
So,
let me out.
Goodbye Moon Men with Jermaine.
Oh yeah, dude, Moon Man. Yeah. Dude, I watched Flight of the Conchords recently too. I was like, Jermaine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna cop that right now. Is it two? It's a 2 LP. Damn.
It's a 2 LP. Yeah. So probably green special edition, green vinyl.
See, right now, all of you, if you're watching this, there are 10 available from one seller on eBay for $27.76, and free shipping out of Kentucky. If you want the Rick and Morty vinyl for $30, cop it right now, dude. We're telling you, you know. You heard it here first, and
very first.
If you hear something once, you don't really hear it twice or 3 or 4. I don't know why that saying is a thing. It's like you never hear something 87 times.
Yeah.
Unless you're a child being disciplined.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the vinyl's cool, and I think that's something that's not really talked about a whole lot. I didn't really hear a lot of buzz about it when it came out. So, but that kind of just derivated from the question. But the music is important, I guess.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
Point, you know?
Because I really like your answer, because your answer really to me shines the light on the fact that confirms my belief that music adds to the impact of emotion no matter what the medium. You know, I feel so bad for deaf people. I don't know what it would be worse, losing my sight or my hearing, because can you imagine never I love music so much I can't imagine not hearing my favorite songs ever again. And when you can experience and immerse yourself in something like the medium of entertainment, and the music gets added to it, and suddenly you got the goosebumps, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's really the reality of it, and that's really cool, man. But if I had to answer the question in short, absolutely, the first hit, I cried like a baby at the end of the Unity episode when Rick pulls that thing out of his cabinet in the garage, defrosts it, kills it, does the last shot, puts himself under that same laser, and then just passes out not in time, dude. I'm the kind of person, no matter whether you know me or not, and I'll tell the whole internet in public, if you've never thought about killing yourself, I think you're crazy. I don't think people who think about killing themselves are crazy. I think if you've never thought about it, you're a little crazy. Because the reality of that kind of finality is all but too real if you've ever been through any kind of truly traumatic struggle or hardship in life. And the amount of weight that conveyed about Rick's character through that show hit me for the first time in a real way that let me know that Rick doesn't like himself. And at the end of the day, you know, when things hit the fan in all kinds of different categories for him, his room is that garage. The same way that some of our rooms are in our parents' house or in our spouse's house, or, you know, the same way we all feel socially distanced in different ways, coronavirus or not. We feel separation, and when he fell just in time to miss that laser, and the chaos, that song broke out, the weight of that song, do you feel it? And I immediately loved chaos, looked that song up, cried my eyes out, and was like, damn, this show surprised the fuck out of me. Yeah. Another one, I guess, I don't know what the episode's called, is the one where they do go to the sauna and accidentally detox themselves. That says a lot about who, you know, who that speaks to a lot of the psychological and philosophical side of knowing yourself as a person. We're all really just this voice inside of our head and our minds and our bodies, and a walking skeletal meat sack. We just have an identity tied to it. The idea of that episode was the ability to filter out parts that are deemed, you know, toxic by a machine or by a spa or by, you know, the idea of toxicity as a whole. Suddenly you see a version of yourself and you really like it, or you see a version you fucking hate, and, you know, Rick wasn't Rick anymore without everything that made him toxic. So that really, the weird, the emotional things that have hit me in this show have hit me in a way that have made me realize the kind of person I've been in my life, because of the impact the show makes me realize I have on people. Because this show makes me realize the impact other people have on other people in a lot of familial scenarios and relational scenarios. And, you know, life really is hard, man. Like if you are blessed enough to have any kind of family and friends and stuff, or spouse or loved ones, everybody knows life gets heavy, man. Life gets fucking heavy. You really do feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders sometimes, if things are good or bad. So, and yeah, I think we should definitely talk more on that and kind of think back through episodes that have really we have real life relatable scenarios to or something.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that could be something we could do in the future when we review episodes and what we enjoy about them. And I think the good part about the Unity episode is that it really humanizes Rick. People think Rick is just too cartoony, like he's too sci-fi, it's too out there. But I think he is actually more of a human than people realize. People want to idolize him, but he's kind of the bad guy. In a sense.
Yeah, he's a shitty person.
So,
you wouldn't want him as a friend. Like Morty. Yeah. Morty is unfortunate for having him as a grandpa. But dude, that's the glamorization of misunderstanding. It's the same way that celebrities overdose on drugs because they're so alone. They're so famous and rich that they're alone, want to do drugs and die. And not that they want to die, but they end up in such a lost place. Like, the answer to life is not a lot of the things that people think the answer is. And that's what this show proves to me in the end of things, is like the way you have it hashed out in your brain ain't all it's cracked up to be, and isn't going to plan out the way that the fairy tale narrative of fiction and this world has written it out to you in all the ways you've consumed it. Which is why I like Rick and Morty. In one way, it's digestible in a very real level, and on another way, it's bonkers. And
exactly.
I can really appreciate that. That's my favorite kind of relate. That's why I love stand-up comedy, because you can't be funny unless you can be real and funny and make jokes about the most serious shit in the world.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's kind of what Rick and Morty conveys, is kind of like a, not satire, but like, hey, this is kind of real.
Yeah.
Like, we can laugh about it all we want, but like at the same time, it's very real.
Right.
So.
Yeah. That's awesome closer for the episode. And on that note, I did see a meme that said South Park's gonna have a lot of ammunition for this new season, for this coronavirus and stuff.
Yeah.
Would you like to see a version of Rick and Morty written week to week like South Park?
No.
The idea that it was animated in a week aside, just the idea of Dan and Justin putting together a show.
To be current, like with current events, probably not. I just put it in a different category.
I would like it, because I would like to see what kind of content they could come up with. I would dig 10 episodes of it. I don't know if that's the normal length of seasons. I think it'd be really cool to just have a whole episode of press content from them. We always talk about that how we want those release dates sooner. People have to understand, if you rush an artist, it's going to come out unfinished and not ready, and there's not going to be as much good as there is questionably not likable. So exactly. Sometimes it's really cool if you like an artist, you just want 10 episodes of something new or something from them so you can listen to it, and in the end you're like, I like 6 of them, I don't like 4 of them, I'm glad that came out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it could work on a different medium, and we can't get them to like write and release 10 episodes in 2 years.
Right.
So I can't imagine them
trying to do it in a whole season. Yeah.
In 10 weeks. Like that's asking the impossible at this point. So, but I would watch it. I just don't know if it would work that well.
Right.
In terms of what the style is. But
that's I'm ready for the slapstick Corona bit in the next and maybe it will be in the second half of the season if they're still putting the finishing touches on those animations.
Yeah.
There could very well be a Corona bit closing out the season.
That's one thing I would like to know behind the scenes, is
how far along
the show? Yeah, is it done, or like, is the coronavirus slowing up production? Like, what is? That's just how I've never seen a show that's so free to do literally whatever they want, to air whenever they want. Like, this has never happened.
And still, the fact that is true, what you say, it makes me mad they didn't give Brendan Small that money, because Metalocalypse was arguably just as creatively great of a show. And that's why I was so amazed that that whole agreement fell out, which is also what worries me for the future of Rick and Morty, because I worry for some reason some executive just won't agree to the terms of agreement.
Yeah. But they've got a pretty good run and a pretty good relationship, I think. And they could probably go anywhere.
At this far, Rick and Morty is arguably resurfaced Cartoon Network as a network.
Totally, absolutely.
Literally, and it would have done wonders if a new network would have brought it in. It would have made them, the same way that like Mad Men and The Walking Dead and shit made AMC. Content and shows like that make people. Breaking Bad was on AMC.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, dude. I think it was a good episode, dude.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is just the Rick and Morty discussion podcast.
Yeah,
podcast.
We'll talk about it all.
You can find us. Where can you find us on the internet?
Definitely. I actually am going to edit it in this time. You can find us at each of the 4 social handles in the screen that you're looking at right now. If you are not, I will pull up a YouTube and read them to you right now because I'm actually subscribed to our YouTube. I don't want to brag, but like we have at least one subscriber.
I am exclusively subscribed to
our
YouTube channel.
Right. I do check it every day just to see if there's a new episode. There is not. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. I'll be the first to know if anyone comes up.
Exactly, yeah. And if one comes up and I don't know about it, I'll be worried. So it looks like we've got portalgunpodcast.podbean.com. And we're on the Google Podcast Network. We've got Spotify Podcast Network as well. You can email us with questions or comments at portalgunpodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter is twitter.com/portalgunpod or @portalgunpod. And we've also got our YouTube channel. Just search Portalgun Podcast. I am on Twitter at I_M_Kilgannon. And Jeff is there at... Jeff actually is a different guy. He spells his name GEOF_Wilson. If you guys want to... at WILS, man. If you guys want to connect with us on any social media or check out the episodes, please feel free to. If you dig video instead of audio, check us out on YouTube. If you dig audio instead of video, don't. Don't blame you. We're not much to look at.
Yeah. There's not a lot. There's here, no
nip slips, no fancy set. It's just 2 dudes talking about a cool show.
Yep. But this is fine. We are what we watch.
Exactly. And what we really are is we are 2 dudes who have, after this episode, 5 episodes of a show, and we have 26 views on our last episode 4. So please,
bingo.
Please be 27. Please go watch episode 4.
Yeah,
we really do. We thank you guys for watching, and stay safe. Wear a mask, but not a ski mask, because then people will mistakenly think you're trying to rob them. So it's the whole moral of this episode is wear the right mask.
There you go. Yeah, that could be metaphorical for real life and current events.
Exactly.
Exclusively. So okay, well I guess until next time, hopefully. We will be sitting beside each other, maybe. If not, we can go over the World Wide Web and do this same thing again, and maybe I will have an improved mic setup by that point.
We'll find out.
And until then, Rick and Morty podcast, Portalgun podcast.
Stay out of my personal space.